It's all pretty vague for most of us. We know something important happened at Iwo Jima, but if we're pressed to come up with details, we'd have to ask Alexa or Google. Not these men. They were all there 75 years ago, participants in and eyewitnesses to a crucial moment in American history.
Iwo Jima, 8 square miles that had to be paid for in blood and agony and violent death.
This week, we were scheduled to tag along with them on a trip back.
I don't think there were any easy missions.
Navy Seabee Ira Rigger.
Every Marine that went ashore was a target.
They slid in from the ocean, ready for a fight.
A lot of them never got past the water's edge.
It was during the waning months in the battle for the Pacific. One more island, one more beachhead to storm. Frank Bradley was a B-29 tail gunner.
It was a very strategic spot. Before that, the bombers, the B-29s, were coming out of India.
I'm sure that the thought that ran through every single Marine's mind in that moment was, we're all going to die here.
Robert Citino is a senior historian at the World War II Museum in New Orleans. He says when the thousands of Marines first came ashore, there was no resistance. Zero.
You know the old phrase from a Western, it's quiet around here. And then somebody says, yeah, too quiet. And I think that's precisely what happened to the Marines in that first hour that they landed on Iwo Jima.
The tiny island with 2 airstrips had been under heavy Navy bombardment for 3 days. Unbeknownst to the Americans inside the island, 11 miles of tunnels. Japanese General Tanamichi Kurabayashi waited till the beach was swarming with Marines.
And he opened up with everything he had. And for the Marines who were on the island and those who survived that bombardment, I think that moment would be unforgettable for the rest of their lives.
Iwo Jima was a terrible campaign. We lost a lot of men.
Almost 7,000 Americans lost their lives there in more than a month of combat. The Japanese lost more than 20,000.
This is a combat uniform.
Marine Sherman Harris recalls leaving a bazooka behind in the heat of battle. His sergeant then said this.
He pointed his finger at me and said, "Go get it." And I thought, that's it. After 18 years of age, I said, "Lord, I'm not ready. I don't want to die. I'm too young to die."
This fellow was a friend of mine, got killed. He was 18 years old.
Navy man Bob Perschetti helped set up communications on the island.
Just to think of, they were kids. They got as far as the shore and that was it.
The Marines raising the flag atop Mount Suribachi became the enduring symbol of the battle.
Suribachi is ours.
But what few realize is that 3 of the men in the photo would not survive the fight. Lest we forget. Bill Ebersol was an 18-year-old Mustang fighter pilot.
If we had not taken Iwo Jima at a terrible cost of lost lives, it would have been far, far greater.
Many a man, but 18 or 19 years old, tested in ways we honestly can't comprehend.
I don't look back and say, oh, almost got killed here, almost got killed there. That's out of my mind.
Of Iwo Jima, Sandy Goldfarb says, often those who talk the most did the least.
Like people say, were you scared? I said, if you weren't scared, you weren't there.
27 Medals of Honor awarded from that battle. Admiral Chester Nimitz said of Iwo Jima, uncommon valor was a common virtue. Marine Hank Marino.
Well, I never thought you could make it out of the war, to be honest about it.
These are Americans.
More than 16 million Americans served in uniform during World War II. Many millions more helped out at home, from bond drives to building airplanes. Most everyone did their bit.
If you want to live in a magnificent country, every now and then you're going to be asked to pay a price for it. You're going to be asked to carry out some duty. Maybe you're going to be asked to lay down your life. And certainly enough young Americans did so on Iwo Jima.
So, Hoda, Savannah, you've seen the social media posts saying, you know, my gosh, 75 years ago, our fathers and parents and grandparents were asked to fight a war. All we're being asked to do is stay home. I feel like this story has a little extra resonance. And for us, in our family, it's extra special because my late father-in-law, Ralph Kuslitz, was a Marine who did 2 tours of duty in the South Pacific. And he rarely talked about what it was like. When we say, Poppy, what was it like fighting back then? And he would say, well, you know, we would fill the 50-gallon drums with potato peels and throw some yeast in there. And when the top blew off, we knew the hooch was ready. But we also know that from a post that was in a local paper, that he was in the thick of it. There was a piece in the paper in Detroit that said that Ralph lost his pants in the invasion of Iwo Jima, according to reports of Sergeant Charles B. Cunningham, a Marine Corps correspondent. Cuslitz, according to Cunningham, used his pants to make improvised sandbags during the first bloody night of the invasion. Offered another pair of pants by a Marine buddy. He was quoted as saying, do they have pleats in them?
Well, it's incredible, the sacrifices made, and also with good humor, Harry. And I just want to say, all of us staying home, it's partly to protect our veterans, whether World War II, Vietnam, the Korean War. They served for us. It's the least we can do.
Absolutely, absolutely, no question. And the hope is this fall we'll be able to do that trip with those guys who are all safe, and they're all in a situation where they can maintain their health. But we hope we'll be able to go back there maybe in September.
It's beautiful, Harry. Thank you.
I hope so too.
Thank you so much.